Welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Willies, your host. I have a special guest with us today, Paul Fleming. Paul Fleming is a regular listener to Politics Done Right, and he made a comment in the feed, and I said, man, we've got to talk. Will you give me the honor of having you interviewed? And he said, yes. Paul Fleming, welcome to Politics Done Right. How are you doing today, my friend?
Fine, sir. Thank you so much. It's my privilege to be on your show. That was really unexpected, really excited, and I'm looking forward to telling my story because I'm sure that a lot of Americans have gone through what I've gone through, but I was still fortunate in a lot of ways how the ending of it happened. So,
well, let me tell you, Paul. Here's the deal. America is a place of stories, right? And if we don't start telling people stories, we allow the plutocracy, those in power, to create stories to make Americans believe that they are not the norm.
right.
And believing you are not the norm is one way of cutting your legs from under you, because you don't have then the fortitude to go fight the battle because you think you're alone. But Americans are not alone. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your story, Paul?
Sure. In 2004, I was a business consultant, first of all, and I traveled across the Southeast. And me being gone the way gone so much. When I come home, I just start with chores. I may cook dinner for the family, and then gather all the children's clothing, and that's what I do for the weekend: cut the lawn, and have good family time with my children. And then Saturday morning, doing those same chores, washing clothes, got ready to take them back upstairs, and it's like someone turned the light switch off. I totally lost the left side of my body. Couldn't move my arms, my legs. And I'm like, I had just lost 40 pounds. So I'm like, I know I'm not having a heart attack, but I found myself laying in the foyer area looking up at the chandelier.
Oh, you actually fell?
Yes, to the ground. And if you ever seen the movie Kill Bill, when she's in the wagon saying, wiggle your big toe, when I saw that movie, I laughed because it's the exact same experience as what I went through, trying to just get my toes to move. And it felt like forever, but I probably was on the ground maybe 5-7 minutes before I could get my legs to move, and then my fingers to wiggle, and then get my motion back. And I stood up, I did 10 jumping jacks, and I sprinted up both flights of stairs. And I looked back down at where I was lying, and I was like, wow, I need to make a doctor's appointment. And so I didn't tell my wife, I didn't tell anybody. Went through the rest of the day, no problem, because I'm an early riser, so that was about 7:30 in the morning. The next day, doing the same exact thing, it happened again. But this time, my youngest child, Christopher, was looking down at me. He started screaming for his mother because I guess he could see the distress in my face. Long story short, I told her what was going on. I had to have my son come in our bedroom and let him watch me, let him know that dad was okay. And so I made an appointment the next day. And that journey took about a month before the doctors could figure out what was going on.
But wait a minute, Paul, you're saying that even though to me, that sounded sort of like a stroke event. And you're telling me, why did you wait?
Because nothing happened after that. Once I got up the second time, nothing happened again.
Okay.
So, and so that Monday, because Sunday, that was on a Sunday. So Monday morning, I went to my doctor, and he was an older gentleman. And so he just walked in the room and said, well, Mr. Fleming, you just need to lose some weight. And that enraged me because had he looked at my chart, I had just lost 40 pounds. So it wasn't my weight. So I said, here's your $20, and I left. I called my mom. She said, son, you need to go see a neurologist. And when I went to see a neurologist, I went through a battery of tests. And it took a month, but then they figured out after they did a spinal tap that I had the fluids that would indicate I had multiple sclerosis.
Okay. Now, let me tell you what is so disconcerting with your trip to the doctor. I remember going to a doctor myself once, and I'm going to link these two stories together because this is multiple components here. I remember going to the doctor, and the doctor I went for physical, and he looked at me and he said, oh, you're a big strapping guy. He pretty much said I really didn't need a physical. And then he said, By the way, physicals don't usually tell you anything anyway. That's what he's telling me, right?
Right. I had the
Then
same experience.
right. I had some other people that went to doctors and they've never been told anything like that, right? Now, when you go into that doctor and he just looks at you and say maybe lose some more weight but you had an event that actually looked like a stroke. What gave you what do you think was the reason that you got that treatment?
I really truly believe because I was an African American that I got
Okay.
that treatment at the end of the day because I played football from grade school to college. And I was used to having a physical every year. Even
Mm-hmm.
when I got married, I would have a physical every year. And the doctors would always tell me, well, you really don't need a physical. You're young, you're strong. You really, why you keep coming and have a physical? And my response was, well, my family history indicates that we've had strokes, cancer. So I believe in preventive maintenance. So I'm going to try to keep my body right, but at the same time, I need it reinforced by your medical practice. And I've changed doctors several times over the course of my life because I
And it
try to
has happened several times, right?
yeah, like I explained to my mom and my siblings. I'm like, look, they work for you. You don't work for them. If I work for them, then they would be paying me. I'm paying them. And so that's my approach. And I fired several doctors during the course of this, only to come back to my original neurologist, um, who kept me. But during that journey, I changed jobs. It's 2004, so 2006, I changed jobs. And because my wife wanted me to be closer to home, so I changed jobs. And in doing so, when applying for insurance for my family, the response came back, they would insure my family for $500 a month, but I wouldn't be insured because they considered a pre-existing condition.
Your multiple sclerosis was pre-existing.
Yes, yes.
And was this employer-based insurance?
It's employer-based
What
insurance.
year was this?
2006.
So that was before Obamacare.
Right. And that's why I said Obamacare saved me. When I put in that text, I said, if it wasn't from Obamacare, who knows where I would have been.
Now, what happened when they told you they could only insure the family? What did you do then?
Well, I just felt hopeless then. It was really nothing that I could do because if I changed jobs again, the insurance companies, they run the show and don't want to take that liability. So I just continue to try to work out, but my condition starting to get worse because eventually.
Wait. Let me stop you. I'm sorry.
Sure.
Are you telling me that you stayed without insurance while your family had insurance for that period of time?
Yes.
How long was that?
Until Obama got elected.
Oh boy.
So I
You're
went.
telling me 12, I mean, not about 2 years,
I went
3
24
years.
months. I went like 24 months without insurance for
Wow.
myself, but my family was insured, which I'm paying $500 a month for their insurance. And but in the meantime, I started losing. I couldn't walk. I couldn't put any pressure on my feet, and so and it shows you what a blessing it was that he got elected because um, this happened right as he got it right. I would say 2 or 3 months after they passed Obamacare.
That's
And
when.
I immediately signed up for insurance and got coverage because I went from struggling to walk to a wheelchair
No.
because I couldn't put any pressure on my feet. The pain was just too great. And then I started to lose usage of my left arm again. And so, I try to tell people that, we need Medicare for all or however they want to do it. I think when you're born in this country and we're supposed to be the richest country in the world, that every American deserves insurance. Every American deserves insurance because luckily my wife's a realtor because the medical bills, the first payment of my medication was $15,000.
What?
$15,000. For the first every year up until last year it dropped down to 10,000, but it was $15,000. That first payment is $15,000. So with that being said, we had to sell our home. and that was fortunate because it's like my
You had
kids
to
were,
sell your house
yes.
because you had to come up with $15,000 per month or
No,
per
just
per
that
year.
first payment, just that first payment for the insurance because you have a deductible. So that
Right,
first payment was $15,000. Then it went to $2,200 a month. And then during the course of the year, it lowered, and by December, then you're paying like 450, 500 a month.
that was after Obamacare.
Right. Because
My
that's just how the insurance company does it. And so we had to sell our home. So, my kids weren't used to living in an apartment. I've lived in apartments before. My kids were used to being in a home. And
right,
so that really affected me spiritually, mentally, and but my kids, kids are pretty resilient.
right.
They didn't take it like I thought they would have taken it, because they saw, okay, there's a swimming pool, you know, you
Yeah.
know, our kids' area was a basketball court, and so they took it in stride. But me being the father, the breadwinner of the family, that really hurt me. Um,
No,
and so
no, Paul, and this is what's so important. Your story is probably replicated hundreds of thousands, if not millions of times in America. And the
most
funny thing about it is, there are a lot of people that, well, you know what it was like to have insurance, lose it, have to sell a home because of it. One of the problems I think is that there are so many people, let's say in Appalachia, so many people in all these places that never even had a home,
right,
never ever knew what it was like to have had,
right.
that they can be snowed by the likes of Donald Trump and other evil politicians who don't want to provide the health care that should be a right to every American citizen.
They put racism in the way to make them think that they're better than everyone else.
Right.
That they make the poorest white man feel that he's richer than the a middle class black man,
And
and
in
so
order
they
to
keep
do
voting
that,
against their own
I'm
interests.
sorry.
They keep voting against their own interests over and over and over again because they're stuck in that little bubble where they're just listening to the same information over and over again. And I've had this discussion, on Facebook with a few of my classmates, because I had a classmate tell me, "Oh, there's no more racism," and I had to explain to this person that part of the reason why I left my consulting job was because before police officers start pulling the trigger on people of color, that when I was a consultant, I would get a rental car. And so I would fly into Kenner and get a rental car, Louisiana, and I was headed to Lake Charles, and a state trooper pulled me over. Now I have on my polo shirt that indicated who I worked for. Talked to the cop maybe 5 minutes. Even went to the point of trying to ease this police officer and open my trunk, showed him the product that I had because I was in the restaurant industry. And he asked me for my rental agreement. So I walked to the passenger side of the vehicle, reached him in my right hand so he could see me, pulled out my rental agreement. And when I turned around, he had his gun unholstered, pointing it at my chest. And I just freaked out. But it was something that I couldn't come home and tell my wife.
Oh, absolutely not. Yeah.
And not only did it happen in that state, it happened in Mississippi, and then it happened again in South Carolina. So my wife started complaining that she wanted me home. It was an easy decision for me because although I probably would have been a really wealthy man by now, because I had several offers by the companies that I was
Mm-hmm.
over, wanted me to be a part of their organization, I didn't feel comfortable living in those states.
Right. Let
And
me
so I
tell let me tell
sure.
you, as it turns out, money isn't everything.
No, it's not.
It's not everything. Peace of mind
Mhm.
and being able to have a good life, that is so important.
Mhm.
That I mean, I don't know if you can see right now, but that is actually affecting me right now, the stories that you're telling about the cops, because it is so prescient with the things that we go through. It
Mhm.
is simply I don't know. But anyhow, Paul, look, one of the reasons, like I said, I wanted to have you on is you told a part of your story on our chat. And I wanted to make sure that, like I said, all the people that are, I consider politics done right a family.
Right.
And I want everybody who has stories, anybody who has a story to tell, I want them to know they have a place to tell, because your story is reflected by the stories of hundreds of thousands of people around the country. So if you have anything else to say, please do. Otherwise, I'd like to thank you for coming on. So let me hear if there's something else you'd like to say.
Yeah, what I like to tell people is that when it comes to coronavirus, please turn off the TV, listening to the news. Talk to your doctors. I've had this same doctor now. I've had MS for 16 years, and I've had this doctor for my original doctor now for 12 of the 16. And when I tell you, uh, I've been having Zoom calls with him when I couldn't go to the doctor. Um, and this doctor has made special. Matter of fact, in October, I lost the use of my foot again and went to rehab. And he played a special part of that. Your doctors, if you know your doctor, if you trust your doctor, that's the person you lean on. Don't lean on any politicians or anyone else.
Paul Fleming, thank you so kindly for being a part of Politics Done Right.
Thank you. I promote you every day.
I appreciate you, Paul, and please continue to do that. And if you have anything else to say at any other time, please know that you have a home here. Okay, brother?
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number one, subscribe to our channel, and number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.